Oh, hey there. Did you know that most people mess up peppermint bark when they make it? And it's not just people that mess it up, it's big companies that mess it up as well. I just ran down to the grocery store and grabbed all of the best peppermint barks that I could find on the shelf, and then I made a surprise stop at Costco and grabbed a box of their famous peppermint bark as well. So let's try out all of these flavors of peppermint bark, and then I'll show you how to make the most delicious peppermint bark that you've ever had without all of the mistakes that most people make. Hey, enough chit chat, let's test out some of the peppermint barks that I'm gonna try here. This is the first one that I picked up here. This is the Lindt Classic Recipe. It's peppermint white chocolate, so it doesn't have any of the dark chocolate, which is what I like so much in the peppermint bark. However, in the past, I've been pretty happy with Lindt because their chocolate quality is really good. So, this is the Lindt peppermint bark. This is their white chocolate peppermint bark. Let's give it a test. I think the problem with the Lindt is there's not really any contrast. There's a little bit of peppermint flavor and there's a couple little chunks of peppermint in it. Yeah, you can see it there in the picture. That seems pretty representative of what's inside of the peppermint bark here. Yeah, not much peppermint to go around, very sweet. If you like white chocolate, you're gonna like the Lindt. The next one that I'm gonna try here is Andy's peppermint bark. Andy's mints are one of my favorites. I've had so many of these over the years, so I'm very curious how this peppermint bark is gonna taste. I've broken off a piece of it. You can see here, it's nice composition, nice layering there. We've got the milk chocolate and the white chocolate, it looks like. Let's give it a test here. Ooh, that's sweet, but they got it right. Lots of peppermint extract in that one. Man, that's actually pretty good. But as good as that is, it doesn't have the right level of crunch that I like in peppermint bark. Yeah, it's kind of missing the peppermint bits. Here you can see it's got some in with the chocolate, but there's nothing on top of it. It's more like a candy bar than peppermint bark. Okay, that being said, those are the pre-made ones that I was able to find, but let's jump into the store-made varieties. Yeah, let's start off here. I've got a tin of it from Costco, and for just under $15, you'll end up with 14 servings of 1.5 ounce pieces, whatever that means. This is what it looks like. Yeah, nice and thin. And it definitely has the peppermint on the peppermint bark. Yeah, I like to see that, but how does it taste? Well, let's see. Well, that's pretty good, but I'm still not satisfied. Doesn't have enough crunch, doesn't have enough peppermint flavor, and it's really not that sweet. The white chocolate is missing the white chocolate flavor, and I think that's due in part to the fact that maybe Costco is using a lesser quality white chocolate, potentially. But hey, we have one more to test here, and I'm very curious if this last one is gonna be what I'm looking for. Yeah, maybe you have one of these stores nearby you. Yeah, this is the Trader Joe's variety. Peppermint bark packaging is very nice, but opening up the tin, I was kind of surprised. I mean, this peppermint bark is thick. It's chunky. I mean, look at how thick this is. This is the thickest piece of peppermint bark that I think I've ever seen. I don't like peppermint bark quite this thick, but all that being said, is it actually any good? Well, let's give it a shot. Oh no. Oh, Trader Joe's, what have you done? Oh, that's not good. Oh, what is going on with this? I didn't know peppermint bark could taste bitter. We have white chocolate, all the candy cane pieces, vegetable juice, brown rice syrup, peppermint oil. That's not good. Packaging's nice, but everything else is not nice. That does not taste good at all. Man, I thought I was gonna find a winner here, but honestly, I think there's only one real solution here. We're gonna have to make our own. Luckily, that's pretty easy. You're gonna wanna grab some white chocolate chips. Yeah, grab some of those. You're gonna want some semi-sweet chocolate chips. Trader Joe's chocolate chips are some of my favorites. If you can get a bag of these, this is a great option. Luckily, there's not much to making this recipe. All you need is semi-sweet chocolate chips, white chocolate chips, peppermint extract, and some crushed candy canes. It's a huge time savings if you use pre-made crushed candy bits like this, and trust me, with the granular uniformity of these crushed candy canes, I mean, sure, you can put it in a bag, smash it with a hammer, but hey, what's the fun in that? Okay, so that's all you need to make peppermint bark, but here is one of the 2 top secrets that I have for making delicious peppermint bark, and here's where it really matters. Yeah, we're talking about the bond between the semi-sweet chocolate and the white chocolate. There is a certain strategy to this that makes it work so well, and if you don't follow this tip, your peppermint bark may fall apart, yeah, the white chocolate may become detached from the dark chocolate, causing a complete failure of your peppermint bark. You don't want that to happen. So here's the secret tip. On your white chocolate chips, you've got to look at the ingredients on the back of the bag here. This is going to be under the nutrition information. So these are house branded white chocolate chips from Winco Foods. There's lots of different varieties on the market, but do you notice what the problem is with these? Well, it's that second ingredient here that's going to cause the issues. Yeah, this has palm kernel and palm oil. Instead, you want to keep looking for a different kind of white chocolate baking chip. What you want to find instead is ones that say that they have cocoa butter. Yeah, I looked long and hard, and the best deal that I found are the ones from Kroger, Fred Meyer's, QFC, Ralph's, wherever you're at in the country. They're the private selection house-branded ones, and those ones don't have that palm kernel oil on it. Instead, they use cocoa butter. So as I was at the store looking at these white chocolate chips, I wanted to test out some other ones. Here you can see these Ghirardelli ones. Yeah, they have the same problem. Palm kernel and palm oil, kind of interesting. Just to make sure that I wasn't missing anything, I wanted to check out every package of white chocolate chips that were here in the baking section at the store. So I also found these premium baking classic white chips made by Ghirardelli, and yeah, just as I thought, on the back of it also palm kernel oil, not cocoa butter. So these aren't going to be ideal either for this kind of peppermint bark. In a delicious white chocolate chip cookie, yes, they'll be just fine, but in peppermint bark, not ideal. Yeah, here you can see the private selection ones that I was just mentioning. Yeah, these ones are good to go. Cocoa butter. No palm kernel oil to be seen on the ingredients label here. And looking a little bit further, I found these Toll House chips. I was thinking these might be a good way to go, but upon inspecting the ingredients list on these chips, sure enough, fractionated palm kernel oil. Interesting. I spotted these Hershey's white chips, and not only were they the wrong kind of chips, they said they were cream cheese flavored, not exactly ideal for peppermint bark, they also had hydrogenated palm oil in it. So luckily, the private selection ones were there. And that's what you want, because if you look at the back of your regular semi-sweet dark chocolate chips, you notice what the third ingredient is on these chips? Yeah, it's cocoa butter. And the nice thing about keeping the ingredients the same means that they're going to stick together. So that's tip number 1. I'll show you tip number 2 as we get into this. Without further ado, let's get out the ingredients. Let's make some fun, delicious peppermint bark today. So now that we have all the ingredients sorted out as far as what to use, it's time to set them out and get them ready to combine into this delicious peppermint bark that we're going to be making today. If you've opted to take regular candy canes and crush them up yourself, well, just aim to get the pieces of candy cane about this size. That'll make sure you have the perfect crunch in your peppermint bark. Next, you're going to want to use a double boiler to melt your chocolate. You can also melt the chocolate in the microwave on 30-second intervals, stirring between each interval, but I find a double boiler is a surefire way to get the chocolate melted without accidentally burning anything. And trust me, if you burn your chocolate, you're not going to want to eat the peppermint bark. It's going to have a really odd flavor to it. Once the chocolate's fully melted, just pour it out of the container that you melted it in and spread it around on a piece of parchment paper on a small cookie sheet. Once you have the chocolate spread out on the parchment paper, it's time to put it in the refrigerator. I left mine in the refrigerator to cool overnight, but really just a couple hours will do. And now it's time for secret number 2, temperature control. You want to make sure that your chocolate is room temperature before you add the white chocolate on top of it. And you don't want the semi-sweet chocolate too cold, because if you do that and you add the white hot chocolate on top of the cold chocolate, you could get condensation or water in between the layers, which would cause the two pieces not to stick together. So let's bring some water up here to a boil real quick. Just turn that on, and so we'll go ahead and set that there. This is a double boiler, so what this does is allow the water to heat the bottom of this apparatus, and won't burn the chocolate, won't scorch the chocolate, but it will heat it and melt it. While that's heating up here, we'll just add in this white chocolate, so that can melt down. And of course, the other thing we need to make this so delicious is just some peppermint. And of course, with peppermint, a little dab will do you. After all, you don't want to take a bite into your peppermint bark and just think, oh my gosh, I'm eating toothpaste. So yeah, we're going to use 1/4 teaspoon of peppermint extract that we're going to mix together with the white chocolate chips, which are now melting in a double boiler. Quite honestly, I don't know if there's anything you could make at home that smells as good as this does. There we go, almost all the way melted. This is crazy how quick it goes. Cool. Turn off the heat. Now it's just a matter of spreading this out. One of the most important little tricks with this whole process is to use a silicone spatula. If you use a metal utensil, the chocolate will stick to it like crazy, so you want to use something non-stick like silicone. Speaking of silicone, here in the background you can see I'm putting some white chocolate and dark chocolate into a mold of sorts. I'll show you a little bit later as to what that is. Anyways, lightly spread it around on top of the semi-sweet chocolate, which is on the parchment paper. You have to be careful not to put too much pressure down onto the white chocolate. You don't want to accidentally force it to melt with the semi-sweet chocolate, causing a muddy mess. Now you want to keep that two layers separated as much as they can. So yeah, just lightly spread the white chocolate down on top of the semi-sweet chocolate, and then we can move on to the next part, which is topping it with those delicious candy pieces. And now I'm just kind of tapping it down here, making sure the peppermint is fully stuck into the white chocolate. Yeah. Well, I'm gonna let that do its thing, come back to it in just a little bit, and then we'll see, does this homemade peppermint bark beat all of this? So back to that silicone mold, here I am putting peppermint candy on this mold in the back. I don't know if you can tell what it is. Well, spoiler alert, it's a chocolate cat. Yeah, this was laying around and it looked too fun not to try. So what I'm trying to do here is see if I can make a peppermint bark cat. Yeah, not too optimistic for this one because, well, the peppermint with all the white chocolate and stuff is actually thicker than the top of the layer of the mold, so I don't know if it's gonna clip together, but hey, I'm gonna give it my best shot. This looks like a lot of fun. All right, well, that was kind of fun. Yeah, here I've got my peppermint bark cat. Sorry, I'm gonna eat half of its head. Okay, so now the great news is we have our peppermint bark. We've broken it up into pieces and let it cool off and put it in storage. It's been sitting here for a couple of days. Look at that. So much more candy on top of this peppermint bark. And even better yet, the tricks worked. You notice how that white chocolate is perfectly bonded to the semi-sweet chocolate. I would say this is a roaring success. This looks absolutely incredible. Perfect distribution of peppermint candy. And I like mine crunchy, so I added a fair amount of crushed candy canes into it. Of course, you can add less if you'd like, but the trick is getting your peppermint extract ratio right. You want to put in just enough so it has that delicious peppermint flavor without making it so strong that you spit it out and go, oh my gosh, I'm eating toothpaste. And listen to this, it's got the perfect crunch. Oh yeah, it just breaks right apart. And how does it taste? Well, I wish I could send a piece through the camera here to you, but unfortunately, I don't think that technology exists. So we'll have to do the next best thing. The perfect amount of peppermint flavor, the perfect crunch, the perfect separation of semi-sweet chocolate and white chocolate. Oh, delicious on all accounts. Yeah, this is how peppermint bark is supposed to be made. By following these simple tips, you'll get perfect peppermint bark every time. Yeah, as always, thanks so much for watching. If you're interested in some other delicious last-minute holiday treats, be sure to check out this video here, or this video here, where I whip up some delicious polar bear paw chocolate cupcakes. Geez, that's a mouthful to say. Or this one, where I make a ridiculous Yule log out of crushed brownies and Nutella. Oh my gosh, so delicious. As always, thanks so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll catch you in the next one.